Hey guys, out here in the verse. Every week brings something new. A patch that soars, a bug that bites, and a few things that just defy explanation. This is where we break it down. The highlights, the heartbreaks, and the hilarious chaos of Star Citizen. The ships that shine, the missions that crash, and the moments that make this universe unlike any other. Welcome to the weekly Star Citizen, the good, the bad, and the ugly. First up is Phase 2 of the Frontier Fighters event, the Siege, and specifically the ambush contracts. These missions drop you straight into high-stakes strike scenarios, where you're tasked with intercepting a Frontier Fighter squadron and taking out their leader. You jump in, find your ambush point, and wait for the squadron to arrive. Then, it's all about your approach. Do you go in guns blazing, sneak in with stealth for a clean takedown, or roll in with friends, an overwhelming firepower? Each tactic feels different, and each one delivers its own kind of adrenaline-fueled experience. The missions feel dynamic, immersive, and honestly, I'm just glad they work. Compared to the usual bug-ridden missions we've all grown numb to, this is a refreshing change. Yeah, they might just be the Foxwell missions with a few tweaks, but at least CIG made those tweaks without breaking them. And for the good guys in this event, these ambush missions aren't just fun, they're impactful. Every successful strike weakens the Frontier Fighters, pushes your faction closer to victory, and racks up valuable campaign points toward your rewards. It's fast, it's satisfying, it's easy and rewarding to jump into with friends. And maybe best of all, it actually works. No major bugs, no broken triggers, just solid, enjoyable gameplay you can fire up anytime for some quick, meaningful action. For a patch that's been pretty painful with bugs, this one's a clear win in the good category. Next up, the bad. And this week's bad goes to the mission timers. Yeah, those painfully long cooldowns that make you stare at your mobi-glass, waiting for the timer to tick down just so you can replay the same mission again. Right now, in Star Citizen, some missions have way too much downtime between runs. You finish one, go to queue up another, and boom, you're hit with a 10, 20, sometimes even 30-minute or longer cooldown. And when you're trying to grind for points, credits, or event reputation, that's a problem. Because instead of keeping players engaged and flying missions back to back, these timers are forcing people to just sit and wait. It kills the momentum. It kills the fun, and it's hurting the player base more than CIG probably realizes. When you make players wait that long to play, they don't sit around twiddling their thumbs. They log off. They jump into a different game. And every minute they spend waiting is another minute they're not having fun in Star Citizen. These long cooldowns make grinding feel like a chore instead of a loop. Players want to jump in, run their missions, and keep the action going, not stand around waiting for some invisible timer to reset. If CIG wants players to stay active, they need to shorten those mission cooldowns, or rework them entirely. Because right now, the only thing these timers are achieving is pushing people to find other games to play. And that's why mission timers land squarely in the bad category this week. Lastly, the ugly. And this week's ugly, it's the growing theory about the whole scene missions. Right now, players can't run the auto-loading whole sea cargo contracts. They fail to load, and it's been happening for weeks with no fix in sight. Now there's a theory spreading through the Star Citizen community that maybe, just maybe, CIG purposely broke the whole sea missions. Why would they do that? Well, the theory says CIG wants to limit how much money players can make right now, that the whole sea missions won't be fixed until they figure out how to slow down real money traders. You know, the ones using whole sea runs to rack up UEC and sell those credits for cash. And while that might make a little business sense, it comes at a pretty big cost. Because for players who actually own the whole sea, many of whom paid real money for it, this ship is basically useless right now. A massive hauler with no working missions, just sitting in hangars, unable to do the one job it was built for. If the theory's true, it means CIG intentionally crippled gameplay to control the economy, punishing legit players just to stop a few bad actors. And if it's not true, it still looks bad. Because either way, paying customers are left with a broken ship and no explanation. Whether it's a technical issue or a tactical move, one thing's for sure. This whole sea conspiracy is gaining traction fast. And honestly, I don't know what's worse, believing that CIG is really this bad at software development, or realizing that players have so little faith in CIG's business practices that they actually believe this theory. One thing's for sure, if CIG stays silent much longer, that silence might say more than any patch notes ever will. Thanks for watching, and tell me what you think down in the comments. Is this just another bug, or something a little more deliberate? Let's wrap up this week's episode of Star Citizen: The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. In The Good, we took a look at Frontier Fighters Phase 2, The Siege, and especially the new ambush missions. They're fast, dynamic, and genuinely fun. They work smoothly, and best of all, they're bug-free. A solid win for this patch. In The Bad, we talked about mission timers taking way too long. Players are being forced to wait between missions, killing the grind, slowing down progression, and driving people to log off or find other games. If Star Citizen wants to keep its momentum, these cooldowns have to go. And finally, the ugly, the new community theory that CIG might have purposely broken the Hull C missions. Whether it's true or not, the result's the same. A major ship with no working contracts, frustrated owners, and growing distrust in CIG's communication. So yeah, this week had a little bit of everything. Great missions, bad design choices, and one ugly conspiracy. Let's hope next week brings more wins, and fewer reasons to rage in the hangar. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, it really helps us grow. And drop your good, bad, and ugly moments from this week down in the comments. We might just add it to next week's episode. See you in the verse.